Okay, well, we want to welcome you to this webinar tonight. My name is Neil, and this is my wife, Annette. And we want to tell you about a personal transformation strategy designed to enhance first your own self-awareness and then the awareness of others. This alone will empower your relationships to prosper.
And you know, the plan is detailed and we'll cover the steps throughout this little webinar, but the journey isn't traveled alone. As a group, an FFC family coach coaches you through some of the individual exercises and some group activities along the way.
Have you ever dreamed of having a happy and fulfilled relationship with your spouse, or with your family, with other people? What would that look like to you?
And do you find that your relationships with your friends, maybe your significant other or your children, or even your coworkers are struggling at times? A person's not likely to have healthy relationships by accident. It's actually achieved by developing two things. First of all, positive character qualities, and then effective communication skills.
You know, miscommunication can be a real barrier to working together as a team. When people communicate using different life languages, they're sending and receiving communication through different filters. Misunderstanding is often a result. Knowing what your primary life language is will help you to know what your preference is and to be able to communicate that with others. Let's take a look at this short video that just explains a little bit of the differences of life languages.
You might recognize yourself in one of...
Knowing your team is crucial. Some are younger, some are older, some have brown eyes, and some have blue eyes. But more important is that they communicate in different ways. They communicate in their own personal way. These are the ones that act first. They need action. Something must happen all the time, and they want to move forward. These are the ones that are full of emotions. They need affirmation and being connected with other people. For them, it is important to be accepted, and they sympathize with people around them. These are the ones that think hard. They need support, appreciation, and attention. Constantly, they plan, manage, and seek new, detailed knowledge. Unnecessary stress and misunderstandings build up when your communication doesn't meet people's needs. They feel unmotivated when their potential is not used. As a result, everyone does their own thing. If you understand everyone's individual needs and how you can reach out to them when you are communicating, then your team can accomplish its vision. Learn how to communicate. To have common union. Learn life languages.
Well, that's a little bit about life languages. And what we want to talk to you a little bit about tonight is the personal communication plan. And sometimes you feel misunderstood and not heard, or maybe you're feeling like you're just not communicating well. Do you feel sometimes you're unappreciated or not valued? Then this personal communication plan might just be the thing that you need.
So understanding these 7 life languages will help you come towards your spouse or your coworkers or even your children, and it'll empower you in your communication skills. Our total personal communication plan has been designed to help you discover the reasons why sometimes you just sabotage those very relationships that you want to cultivate. And it also gives you tools to understand personal communication styles and how to better communicate with others.
You know, Annette and I have been working with singles, couples, and families for over 30 years, and we've put together this personal communication plan, and it's designed to help you navigate the journey of developing healthier relationships. But we want to tell you a little bit about our Pickle Jar Lake adventure. And it's kind of a journey in communication, and hopefully you're going to like this story. One of the things that Annette and I like to do is to take hikes in the Canadian Rockies.
When we're in town.
When we're in Calgary, yeah. Just a few summers ago, we decided to take a hike up to Pickle Jar Lakes. We got up early one morning, packed our lunch, got our water, our hiking gear, and got ready to head to the trailhead. I plugged in the coordinates into my GPS to guide us to the Lantern Creek parking lot. But usually Annette is my guide for 42 years, and she helps to read the map or the GPS to guide our destination. But sometimes we can have miscommunication on those directions, and I can make a wrong turn or get frustrated because this doesn't seem to be the right way. Have you ever been there? It's in those moments that I need to learn to turn to Annette and repent for those relational messages that I've sent to her, in order for us to communicate and have an enjoyable day.
And when we arrived at Pickle Jar Lake, we weren't sure exactly where the trailhead began because it wasn't clearly marked. And so we parked in the parking lot, and then we saw people walking along, crossing Highway 4, walking along the ditch and going up to the trailhead. And we realized that was the direction you go in. Sometimes it just helps to have someone to follow.
That's right. Well, the trail, it's about 10 kilometers long. It's almost all uphill. All at the beginning, it goes in and out of the aspen and the spruce, and it's got some incredible views of mountains in each of the clearings. It seems like it's going to be an easy, enjoyable climb. As you look ahead, it isn't clear where the route is going to end up.
And that's usually how our relationships start out, enjoyable and easy to manage. Little did we know how much work it was going to be ahead. Yeah, so the hike began to get a little bit rocky. And on the flat ground, there were roots sticking up and rocks, and we had to watch every step of the way. And Neil had more skill at that than I did, but for me, at this point, it started to get all uphill. It was getting difficult. I was starting to feel the attitude. I was having an attitude. I was feeling the altitude. And so I had to watch my every step. And I tripped several times. I started to get discouraged. And sometimes Neil just had to walk behind me and give me a little holding me up push, or, push me forward, just giving me an extra hand to take that next step.
Every relationship has its rocky seasons, but when we learn to understand each other's communication styles, we can answer the questions, what do you need from me and how do you need it? It's then that we can come towards someone and help them on the journey to successful relationships. It's a pretty steep hike with lots of stops to adjust to the altitude and rest for the next part of the climb.
And we need to remember to take those times of reflection and become self-aware and other-aware, so we can learn where adjustments need to be made in the way we communicate with each other.
The last uphill section had black shale and some fresh snow, making it rather slippery. We started to get tired. It was getting a bit tougher. You had to make a commitment to keep pushing through. And if we couldn't see the top, knowing we're almost there, it could have become discouraging and maybe even quit.
And there was a study done by Focus on the Family several years ago. They were studying couples that were going through difficult seasons in their life. And there were some that decided we'd just split up and each go our own separate way and we wouldn't work through the issues. And then there were others that decided they just push through and they fight for each other rather than with each other. And they push through to the next season. And then years later, 5 years later, actually, Focus on the Family came back to those couples to just see how they were doing. And the couples that stayed together and pushed through to make it through that difficult season, they were far happier than those that decided to split up and each go their own separate way.
So there's great wisdom in working on your relationship, whatever context that looks like for you, family members, coworkers, friends, and you don't have to do the journey alone. That's why we've set up this personal communication plan. It's a step-by-step plan to help coach you in your walk. As you follow the path, it crests over some jagged rocks, and we're greeted with some amazing views of the first lake, Pickle Jar Lake. The view is definitely worth the 3 hours of hiking and an effort to get to the top. We still needed to descend into the valley to reach our destination, but it was worth it.
And the same is true in your relationships. Sometimes the mountaintops feel like everything is going great, but it's the valleys and the hike up where character is built. And that is the setup that we all need for developing strong communication skills. So it's not a bad thing.
That's right.
Sometimes it's a good thing to be in the valley.
So we descended down through the shale to reach the lake. We found a great spot to have our lunch, and afterwards we discovered that there were 3 more beautiful lakes. At the third lake, Annette jumped for joy. You can see it right there in that picture, because it was the most beautiful lake of them all. But there was still one more lake, so I went on ahead to explore, and Annette rested and prepared for the descent down later that day.
And let me tell you, it was a lot easier and faster going downhill. The same's true in your relationships. When you work through those tough times together, it does get better. It does get easier in your journey to successful communication. So the reason we shared this little venture with you is that we all face challenges. None of us are exempt in our journey of communication and relationships. And there are times when we need a good coach and advice from people who've gone before us.
Yeah. And we want to start by trying to help you in that journey to successful communication.
So are you tired of maybe being unhappy in your relationships? Do you find maybe you're being misunderstood, or it ends up in arguments with your spouse, your friends, or maybe even your coworkers? Have you ever been advised to maybe set up boundaries to protect yourself? Well, there is a different way.
Yeah, we can help you get over the mountain of hurtful relationships. If you're wanting to put some time and effort in, then you can learn how to become more self-aware and other-aware.
And when you begin to understand the life languages, this will empower you to come towards someone. You'll know what they need from you and how they need it. And this alone will create a whole new paradigm on your relationships. It's a tool that will open doors of effective communication and change. And it will also validate you as a person and the giftings that you bring to the table of what you have to offer.
If you're ready to move out of those unhappy relationships on a journey towards successful communication and happy relationships, then just keep watching this. And we want to share 7 simple steps that will empower you to change not only your own life, but the relationships that are around you.
It's a personal communication plan we've put together for this very thing.
That's right. It's a 1-year commitment with coaching that's been designed to help you achieve healthy communication in all of your relationships. It's a 1-year plan that will help you navigate the sometimes rocky road in your personal relationships to find the place and fulfillment and happiness in your life and relationships. The first step in the journey is to take the Life Languages profile. Taking the Life Languages questionnaire takes about 30 minutes. It's all online and can be taken at your own convenience.
And you may have heard of profiles or assessments which tell you about your personality types. Well, Life Languages is a unique and a different profile, and it gives you a comprehensive picture of who you are and how you prefer to communicate, act, and relate to others. And the other thing about Life Languages is that it's a character-based communication tool. It plays a role in transforming relationships and workplace culture. And this workshop, it's based on character-centered communication, which aims to help you and your family, your friends, your coworkers, all communicate in a more effective way. And it will reveal your communication strengths and your challenges. And it'll help you build healthy and cohesive relationships while maximizing your ability to understand and to just come toward others.
Now, these 7 life languages highlight positive communication skills as well as areas for personal growth. The Kendall Life Language Profile is both diagnostic and prescriptive in diagnosing your passions, your strengths, your fluencies, and possibly some of your weaknesses. You will gain almost an immediate self-awareness and other awareness. So let's take a look at these 7 life languages. Step number 2. Watch the Life Language Communication Breakthrough Workshop online at your own convenience. Once you complete the profile, we'll send you a link to this online workshop. You can watch this workshop in the convenience of your own home, in your own time, in your own space. It goes through each of the life languages in their pure form and gives us a detailed description of each of the 7 life languages.
Yep, there's the mover, the doer, the influencer, the responder, the shaper, the producer, and the contemplator. And this workshop, It has an introduction, and then each one of these life languages is explained in detail. It's about 30 to 35 minutes each. So you can watch it like binge watch it like a Netflix series, or you can watch it one life language at a time. And you can watch them in any order. They're not, you don't have to watch it systematically.
One couple that took the course with us last time, they've been married for 57 years. They would watch one of these videos and then go for a walk in the park and talk about it. And they said this was the best thing that they've ever attended in their 57 years of marriage. And they were pastors. So,
With communication, yeah.
so this was really good for them.
So just let me explain a little bit about the life languages quickly so you'll get a little taste of it. But the life languages, you'll see on the screen here, the intelligent category. There are 3 intelligence categories. There's the act, and those people are the movers and doers. And we'll explain in detail what movers and doers are like. And the way you can recognize them is they act. They've got to do something right away. And then there's the next intelligence category, which is the feelers. And the feelers are the ones that you'll see. They carry the emotions on their shoulder, or they are sympathetic toward people, or they want to communicate. They're striving to communicate. Those are the feelers, the influencers and the responders. And then there's the think category. That's the cognitive category. The shapers, the producers, and the contemplators fall under there. So we'll be explaining and going through what each of those categories are. And once you do your profile, you get a 15-page report in detail that gives you some of this information, and we help unpack it with you.
Now, what's different about life languages is biblically based. It was written by the Kendalls and developed by them. And it's based out of Romans chapter 12, verses 6 to 8. And in that, we can see each of the communication styles. It says in verse 6, since we have gifts that differ according to the grace given to us, that we need to exercise them accordingly. If prophecy, according to the proportion of his faith,
that's the mover.
If service in his serving,
that's the doer.
Or he who teaches in his teaching,
that's the contemplator.
Or he who exhorts in his exhortation,
that's the influencer.
He who gives with liberality,
that's the producer.
He who leads with diligence,
that's the shaper.
And he who shows mercy with cheerfulness,
that's the responder. So we'll be going into more detail in the workshop and throughout the personal communication plan. But let's get back to what the plan is. We're doing some insights. Yeah, I forgot about this. This is pretty important too. See, each life language has a filter question that you need to go through, and whether you consciously or unconsciously recognize that, when we're receiving or giving communication, we're filtering it through that question. And you go through the filter to meet the need. There's a heartfelt need that we each have to ignite the driving passion to build that key character strength. And sometimes if that isn't happening for us, we'll see some distress flares. And distress flares are like the warning light on your car. You know, when the oil light goes on, you know, you're not in too much danger right then, but if you don't do something about it pretty quick, you will be. And then there's essential qualities for each life language to develop. So that's part of the life language profile that you'll be experiencing.
And that's what we really like about it. It really helps you to grow. And I remember one person that did this. She said for the first time in her life, she felt validated for who she was. And that's why we think that the life languages are such a powerful tool to be used.
So that's step 2.
Step 2. Step number 3 is after you've watched those videos and you've got a little bit of understanding, is you schedule a free personal coaching appointment to unpack your life languages profile with us.
Yeah, and in this session, we'll help you to understand and interpret your personal profile results. So we'll cover your life languages in descending order. There are 7 life languages. And the good thing is we all speak all 7 life languages at varying degrees of strengths and weaknesses. And we'll talk about your life language scores and what that means, and about the gap, the range, the overall intensity. And also, we'll go through your 15-page report with you.
And then the 4th step is that you will have daily access to the Life Language Facebook group.
Right.
It's hard to do life alone. And so daily, Josh will be putting up little posts and people can communicate, they can ask questions. It's just a place where we can build community and where we can share our victories and share our struggles on the road to better communication. It's a safe place that you can ask your questions and get those answered from the communication coaches as well.
And then step 5, you'll have access to the monthly coaches huddle group on Zoom. And that's a live, interactive, online experience with an opportunity for everyone to participate. So each month you'll have the opportunity to meet online for 1 hour with others who are on the journey to better communication.
Mm-hmm.
And together we'll be going through some of the topics, clues for better communication, success communication keys, understanding your distress flares, some pair and share exercises, stand on the curb exercises, positive character qualities that you can develop in strengthening your weaker life languages, and so much more.
You know, the best part about it is we're doing it and living in community. It's not just Annette and I talking the whole time like we are in this webinar, but it's more interactive. It's asking questions, it's people discovering, and it's internalizing these life languages so they become a way of life.
And this Zoom meeting is live and interactive for everyone who wants to participate.
Step number 6, it's to attend a Family Foundation's life-changing weekend encounter. This is the first of an intensive personal transformation ministry and growth. We have the Blessing Generation Seminar, the Empowering Relationship Seminar, the Overcoming Anger Seminar. And each one of these seminars is a teaching with small group ministry time that deals with those buttons that are being pushed in our lives. And they're going to bring deep revelation and impact your relationships with your children, with others that are around you, and it's going to restore you to receive what God wants you to receive.
Right. So in those Blessing Generation seminars, some of the topics we cover are God's purpose and the power of blessing. It also covers the 7 critical times of blessing in a person's life. And then the Empowering Relationship Seminar covers the battle for the soul, relational communication. You know, you might be right on the topic, but what's the relational message that you're sending? And then managing offense. How do we manage offense? And why so much strife? That's covered in the Empowering Relationship Seminar. In the Overcoming Anger Seminar, some of the topics are anger and its effects. Why do I do what I don't want to do? The source of anger, identifying that virus, and then steps to freedom. How do I really forgive from the heart?
So attending one of these seminars will help you to identify and remove those deep-rooted self-sabotage mechanisms at the core of your being, which maybe you didn't even realize were there. And understanding the difference between the topical and relational communication is one of the keys to a happy marriage, happy parenting, and happy relationships. To experience major personal transformation and breakthrough in your own life, your marriage, your finances, and your purpose.
So your registration fee to sign up for one of these is included in the personal communication plan. And you can pick any one of these 3 seminars, and they're scheduled regularly by FFC coordinators across the country. So you can sign up for the one of your preference. Either you sign up online at familyfoundations.ca, that's for Canada.ca, and just select events. And these seminars are offered both in an online, which is live, virtual, and interactive, or even live and in person. So when you check online, you'll notice which type it is, and maybe the live in-person ones are scheduled in your region.
And those seminars are just life-changing. I was talking to a pastor in the UK just this morning, and he was sharing with me, they did one in their church last weekend, and he said, Neil, it was the most powerful seminar that we've ever done. And it just, so many lives were changed, so many lives were transformed, and people received the blessing. But here's the powerful thing, they learned how to give the blessing to their children, and they're seeing their families changed and transformed as they walk out these steps to personal transformation.
Yeah, and then that brings us to step number 7. This is the final step that takes place after you attend a seminar, one of those 3 seminars. You'll be teamed up with a family coach couple that will continue to journey with you. So you'll be scheduled for your first 1-hour appointment to receive personal ministry and coaching. And if you feel that that's productive and it was a great experience for you, you have the option of scheduling further coaching sessions for an additional fee. It's optional if you want to.
That's right.
Step 7. So here it is. Those are the 7 steps. That's a personal communication plan.
Yeah.
And there's no pressure tonight because our gift to you is a free 1-hour consultation. And during this hour, we'll answer any questions you might have. We'll discuss the fees, right, for that personal communication plan. And we'll just determine along with you if you think the personal communication plan is a right fit for you. So you can do a few things here. You can email us at canada@familyfoundations.ca if you have any questions, or phone our office 403-720-6772 to set up your 1-hour consultation. Or at the end of this webinar, we will be emailing everyone a link with a calendar that you can just pick a time in there and schedule an appointment.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a lot of choices. So again, yeah, it's your choice. The journey to successful communication. Are you unhappy and tired of all those miscommunication, arguments, anger, hurt, pain in your relationships? Maybe you feel unvalidated, or maybe you feel like you don't have a voice. Would you rather transition over into happy relationships filled with good communication tools? Then maybe this personal communication plan could work for you.
Yeah, the personal communication plan will help you to go through the valleys and even reach those mountaintop experiences of relational harmony and better communication. The journey may seem overwhelming to you today, but remember, you don't have to take the journey alone. You're walking with us and with all the people in the group. So taking the first step can often be the most difficult, and we want to help you to do that.
So the other thing that's available to you, and even starting right now, whether you continue on or not, is the bonus resources at the familydreaminstitute.ca. You can access all those resources for free, and they'll help you create a culture of blessing in your own relationships and family. And so some of those resources include Building Strong Families video series, the video clips from the rite of passages for young men and young women, any resources for pastors and parents and teachers, video resources for teachers, also how to write a blessing, maybe how to write a Christmas blessing, a birthday blessing, so much more. They're all on there available. You can check that out anytime and use whatever you can on that website. Yeah, free for you.
That's right. So what's next? Well, you can book a 1-hour free consultation to discuss the pricing. Is this program right for you? And we can answer any questions that you might have. And as Annette said, after the webinar, what we're going to do is we'll be sending you out another email that's going to have a link in it. You can book your consultation just by going onto our calendar and say, hey, I'm really good for Monday morning at 10 a.m. And it'll schedule you in automatically. That's the miracle of modern technology.
And this personal communication plan is available for couples or for singles.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's good for people of all ages. Like we told you, the last couple that was in it, one of them was married for 57 years. And they said it's really helped them in their communication, and they're growing closer and closer. Well, we want to thank you guys for watching and taking the time to listen to this webinar. We hope that it's been informative and that you have felt that the information might help you in your journey to personal transformation and freedom. And maybe you can share this with somebody else that would like to join you and be a part of one of our personal communication plan huddle groups. And so I just want to pray a prayer just as we wrap up this part, and then we're going to have a few testimonies and a time for some Q&A. So may the Lord bless you and your relationships. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace in all your relationships. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.